Major supply chain issues are starting to develop all over the country. Michael Snyder reports. Supply chain problems were supposed to be a thing of the past, but instead our supply chains just keep getting hit by issue after issue. Have you noticed that it has become really difficult to acquire parts and get things repaired? It is not just your imagination. And you've noticed that store shelves seem rather sparse just about everywhere you go shopping. During my latest visit to the local grocery store, I was stunned to see how thin stock shelves have become. I assumed that it was because I had arrived at a bad time and that they were about to be restocked. But then I started looking into this and I discovered that major supply chain issues are starting to develop all over the country. According to a survey that was recently conducted, a whopping 82% of those that visit brick and mortar stores have had problems with things being out of stock this year. That figure is up 11% from the same time last year. More than 4/5, 82% of brick and mortar shoppers say they've experienced items being out of stock this year, according to new research. The data from software provider Retail Insight finds this headline figure is up 11% point year on year and says supply chain disruptions causing it are now seriously threatening customer loyalty. The findings are based on a survey of 1,000 people and found shoppers believe product availability has become increasingly a problem since the onset of the pandemic, as reported by 71% of responders. An additional 3/4, 75%, said product availability has worsened since the start of the cost of living crisis. Of course, it is not just the brick and mortar stores that are having problems keeping things in stock. Here's more from that same survey. This was also a story amongst online shoppers, where incidents of out-of-stock items have increased by 6 percentage points year on year, with 60% of customers now seeing out-of-stock items online. At a time when things are supposed to be getting back to normal, these numbers are going up. That's not good. So what in the world is going on? Well, the truth is that it is not just one thing. In a video he just posted, Steve Poplar explains that our supply chains are literally being hit from countless different directions right now. Sadly, some of the wounds to our supply chains are self-inflicted. For example, the Biden administration decided to impose new tariffs that could raise the prices of canned food by up to a whopping 30%. The Biden administration on Thursday announced new tariffs on can-making metal imported from China, Germany, and Canada, a move that food companies say could lead to higher prices for some canned foods. Chinese products would be subject to the highest tariffs of the three countries, a levy of 122.52% of their import value. That rate partly reflects the Chinese company's refusal to cooperate with the investigation to prove their independence from Chinese Communist Party, an administration official said. The Consumer Brands Association, a trade group representing companies such as Campbell's Soup and Fresh Del Monte Produce, estimated new tariffs, if applied aggressively, could raise the prices of canned food by up to 30%. Thanks, Joe. Now a can of soup that currently costs us about $2 will soon be close to $3 when you add on sales tax. On top of everything else, the seemingly endless drought in the middle of the country is likely to mean that corn production and soy production will both be well below expectations this year. This week, a massive heat dome will drive the heat index above 110 degrees in our agricultural heartland, and that is not good news at all. The heat dome will consume the plains and Mississippi Valley into the south this week with oppressive and dangerous conditions, the National Weather Service reported earlier Monday. The most widespread weather hazards extending through midweek involves searing temperatures impacting a majority of the central U.S. and Gulf Coast, the National Weather Service said. Dangerous heat underneath an extreme potent upper-level ridge centered over the middle Mississippi Valley is forecast to stretch from parts of the upper Midwest to the Gulf Coast. Highs into the upper 90s and triple digits will be easy to come by over the next several days, with heat indices into the 110s when taking into account the humidity. Unfortunately, the entire globe has been dealing with very unusual weather patterns this summer, and global food prices are beginning to surge. Needless to say, this is hitting those living in extreme poverty the hardest. Price for rice grown in Kenya soared a while ago because of higher fertilizer prices and a years-long drought in the Horn of Africa that has reduced production. Cheap rice imported from India had filled the gap, feeding many of the hundreds of thousands of residents in Nairobi Kibera slum who survive on less than $2 a day. But that is changing. The price of 25 kilograms, that's 55-pound bag of rice, has risen by a fifth since June. Wholesalers are yet to receive the new stock since India, the world's largest exporter of rice by far, said last month that it would ban some rice shipments. But even though we are in the early chapters of the worst global food crisis in modern history, leaders in the Western world continue to do absolutely insane things in the name of fighting climate change, and things are particularly crazy over in Europe as well. Look to the Netherlands for further evidence. Dutch farmers, the backbone of a nation that's leading exporter of meat and agricultural products, are being chased off their lands. A staggering number, 3,000 farms are forecasted to be confiscated in the coming years. The tragic fallout is evident, with a reported 20 to 30 farmers tragically ending their lives annually. Our friends in Europe are no strangers to these baffling decisions either. The European Commission greenlit a strategy to compensate livestock farmers for halting their operations in certain areas, with the stipulation that they never resume their animal breeding activities. The implications are clear: a drop in global food availability and an inevitable spike in prices. Have they gone completely nuts? Maybe. Here in the United States, suspicious fires continue to erupt at key facilities over and over again. The latest example happened at a large fertilizer plant in Bartlett, Texas. The American Plant Food Corporation fertilizer plant has been contained, and the air quality is deemed good as hazmat crews continue to work to clean up the site of fire, and firefighters work to clear the smolder, authorities said. Bartlett Mayor Chad Meese and Bartlett Volunteer Fire Department Chief Stephen Wentrick on Monday said the fire department received a call about the fire at 8:30 p.m. on August 20th at the plant located at 9901 North Highway 95 Bartlett. Fire Chief Stephen Wentrick said that when crews arrived at the scene, the building was fully engulfed and help was sought from departments in surrounding areas. We keep being told that it's just a coincidence, that there have been dozens of such fires all over the nation, but they just keep happening. And we keep being told that our supply chain problems are being fixed, but they just keep getting worse. So what is going to happen when global events become a lot more chaotic in 2024 and beyond? It's going to become increasingly difficult to stock up on things, and so I would plan accordingly. This is by Michael Snyder. He says about the author, my name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of the books, these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing. And one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings to the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter. I encourage you to subscribe so that you won't miss any of my latest updates. I've also published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News. And the articles that I publish on those sites are published on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media on Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. This is on the Economic Collapse blog by Michael Snyder. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.